Hello YouTube, we're going to do another video here, but this time we're going to use the amplifier as a repeater. And let's see how this works. Basically, like I did in another video when I was using the handheld radio to connect to the Retevis RT97 repeater. Well, we took that out of the equation, and now instead of just using the handheld, we're going to use the handheld hooked up to the amplifier to the antenna, just like how I had the other repeater. The antenna is the same antenna. It's the high gain antenna, 50 feet of coax. It's 24 feet high. I think that's what it was on the other video. I didn't change nothing. The amplifier's hooked up to a 30 amp power supply. So how we're doing this is, here is the radio. It's hooked up to the amplifier, so the input of the radio feeds the amplifier, and then that obviously it goes out from the amplifier out to the antenna. I'm hooked up my audio cables to the free software to record and play back. Now, there's kind of some advantages of doing this. One advantage is I don't need no offset. I can run a split frequencies if I want to. Or I could just run one frequency, and you could even then, for that matter, if you do that, you could use a regular radio that can connect to the repeater. Remember, these can't do split frequencies, so technically speaking, I could program this radio for one frequency, one transmit frequency and one receive frequency, and then this radio could connect to it. So that could be done. In this case, I'm not going to do that. We are going to be using the handheld Retevis RT85, and I'm going to do some distance test. The same distance location that we're going to do at the same locations. We're going to compare it and see if it's better. Now, of course, the receive, this all depends on the receive radio. And what I mean by that is the handheld that you are going to use, if it's got better sensitivity, if it's, a real expensive model, you may or may not see a difference. But for this, we're just going to use again another Retevis RT85 model. The squelch is set at 5. The transmit timer is set as high as it can go. I have the Vox set on it. I have the Vox level all the way up. Now, I had to reconfigure the software to do this because this does not have the squelch break at the end. And I'll show you what I mean here. This is what it's going to sound like. There's no squelch break. Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So there's no at the end of the transmission like you would hear on a regular repeater when you do it this way. This is putting out at 18 to 20 watts. The SWR is 1.01. So this is putting out obviously more wattage than the Retevis repeater, which what I think I measured 5.8 watts, I believe. But so this is putting out a little bit more. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go to the same locations. We're gonna do the same type of test, and let's see how far we can go with this setup. Now, I have to say, this little power supply that I've been using is a clean power supply. What I mean is I don't hear any hum in my audio. So I'm starting to liken this power supply. This is, they sell expensive power supplies for this. They have the meters on it and all that good stuff, which is all fine and dandy. But I don't really need to see a meter. Once you adjust it, you kind of forget about it. But I think this power supply was like $25. I did a video on it, so you can check out that video, and that's more in depth. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything else. I don't think so. I have all the volumes adjusted. I had to reconfigure the software, for this. So let's go ahead and take you for a little test drive. And I'm going to put the video on pause. As you have noticed now, I got the camera facing the other way instead of portrait way. I have it landscaped. I apologize for the other videos doing it the other way. I got this software, the phone software, to work better, hopefully. And I got a new microphone for this video, so hopefully the sound will be okay when I check it out. So anyway, let's go for a ride and let's see what happens. I'll talk to you soon. Okay, YouTube. Well, before I get too carried away, let's go to the one location, which is like, I don't know, 6 to 8 blocks away. Remember that video I did that the amplifier did not work with the repeater? Well, let's go to that same location before I start driving all over the place, and let's see if this thing's even gonna work before we go to the location 1. Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check.
Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check.
Well, we're off to a good start, so that tells me let's go to location 1, and I will do a radio check there. So I'm going to put you back on pause, and we'll be right with you shortly. Okay, YouTube, we're at location 1, which is 0.8 miles according to Google Maps. Let's see if we can, how it sounds. Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Location 1. Location 1.
Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Location 1. Location 1.
Well, that sounded really good, actually. So, on to the next location. We'll talk to you then. Okay, here we are at location 2. And just to let you know, I'm trying to park in the exact same spots, but sometimes that's not feasible because depending on the traffic and if someone's parking, in it close to the same area, I'm trying to do this, without people calling the police and wondering what is some guy driving around with a handheld radio doing. But anyway, and also too, I don't remember. When I call location 2 in the other video, I don't remember if it's going to be the same location number that corresponds to the actual location. What I mean is, if I went to a spot and I said this was location 2, and in this video I go to the spot and it's location 3, but I'm calling it location 2, that's irrelevant. I'm going to the same areas as the other video. May not be in order per se, but it's the same area, so we can get the same distance. Just to let you know that, because I know people might watch the video and say, well, wait a minute here, location 2 in this video look different than here. It don't matter. I'm still going to the same area. May not be, the location numbers may not be corresponding to the area of the location, but it's the same area, I promise. Any rate, so now we're at location 2, which according to Google Maps, it's about 2 miles away from the repeater, and I'm trying to park the car or the camera facing the direction of the repeater. If that's possible, I will do that. But let's go ahead and give this a try. Location 2, radio check. Location 2, radio check.
Location 2, radio check. Location 2, radio check.
So there you have it. It seems to be working fairly good. I kind of missed that squelch break. I kind of missed that because that kind of told me, hey, I'm hitting the repeater. So I missed that part, and that won't happen with this particular repeater setup. I suppose I could turn on the Roger beeps on the handheld that's hooked up to the amplifier, but I didn't do that. So at any rate, so let's go to the next location and see how it sounds. I'm going to put you on pause and talk to you soon. Well, hello, we're back, and I just realized that when I was looking at my sheet, the last location I went to should have waited because that location is further away. But it is what it is, and I'm not going to redo this video. So if you're wondering why in the next few locations, if I'm getting closer to the repeater, is because I am. Because I should have done this. I should have looked at the sheet a little more closely. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm just letting you know what happened. I guess I glanced at it and I should have looked at it better. But anyway, so this location, we're actually, yes, we're going to be closer to the repeater than the last location. But that's okay. It's a different direction, so we'll test it anyways. This location, I should be 1.5 miles away as a crow flies, as a bird flies straight across. We're not talking road distance. We're talking through the air. Through the air, 1.5 miles. I should have emphasized that in the beginning of the video, and I forgot. This is how the crow flies, as they say. Okay, so let's do a check here. This is 1.5 miles away from the repeater. Radio check, location 2, 1.5 miles away.
Radio check, location 2, 1.5 miles away.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Not bad at all, actually. So, okay. So let's see here. I guess what I'll do is the next spot I'll go a little bit closer, and then the other location after that will go further away. But we're still going to the same areas as the other video. It may not be as many locations, which is fine. We don't need to, you know, do every location. I just want to get an idea of how this is working as a repeater. But so the next one will be closer, and then after that we'll start going more further away. So let's go to one more spot that's closer, see how it does, and then we'll go from there. So we'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay, like I said, I kind of did this out of order as in distance apart, but it is what it is. So this location 3 is, yes, it's close to the repeater. It's 1.37 miles from the repeater. Like I said, I kind of messed up on that, but it don't matter. You still get the idea. So let's do a test. Location 3, radio check. Location 3, radio check.
Location 3, radio check. Location 3, radio check.
Okay, there you have it. 1.37 miles away. Now, I think we're going to do, to keep this video short, we're going to go ahead and do the further distance, like I did with the other repeater. So I'm just going to jump to those, and I'll put you back on pause, and we'll be with you shortly. Okay, we're at the other location. This location is going to be 2.91 miles away as the crow flies. And we'll do a radio check here. I gotta wait. There's a person in the parking lot, so I gotta kind of wait for her to go inside here. So, okay, here we go. Location 6, 2.91 miles away. Radio check. I hesitate on that, so I don't know if it's gonna.
Location 6, 2.91 miles away. Radio check.
That let me redo that. I gotta remember I can't pause because then it will think it's done. Then it'll stop recording. So let me redo that and not pause. Radio check 2.91 miles away. Radio check 2.91 miles away.
Radio check 2.91 miles away. Radio check 2.91 miles away.
Well, that sounded really good actually. This repeater, setting up this amplifier's repeater is working fairly well, actually. I think the sound might have been better on this than the actual repeater. I'd have to check the video again, but wow, that's not bad. 2.91 miles away. I'm gonna do it one more time. Radio check, 2.91 miles away. Radio check, 2.91 miles away.
Radio check, 2.9 miles away. Radio check, 2.91 miles away.
That's sounding really good. And this is the furthest location that I would go. So we kind of, in the other video we might have done 2 more locations that weren't as far away. I kind of skipped those to keep the video short. This is the furthest one. There's another location, but that's actually technically closer. So yeah, I think what we're gonna do is, I think this should give you an idea on how this amplifier would work for a repeater. I mean, it's pretty good. A lot better than I thought it was gonna be. The only thing, at least for my handhelds, I don't have the option of what they call a battery eliminator, like the Bowfangs. I think it's the Bowfangs. You can take your battery off and you plug in this fake battery, but it's got a jack on it, so you can plug it in your cigarette lighter. That would be the only issue for me. Retevis does not offer that option, so my battery would go dead eventually in the handset, obviously. But they don't offer that option, which at least I don't think they do. I haven't found it. So that's the only bad thing for me if I used a handheld as part of the repeater that I could face. The other thing is that power supply is working really good. Back in the CB radio days, or if any of you have done that, if you had a power supply that didn't have good filtering, you'd hear a hum in your transmission, like what they call an AC hum. And I don't hear that at all. So that cheap power supply is really working really well. Like I said, I did post a video about it. I don't think I put the link in the video. I'll check it. If I didn't, I'll add the link to where to purchase that power supply. Because now, as for how long it's going to hold up, well, that I don't know. I just got it. I'm new to it too, so I guess time will tell if it dies on me compared to an expensive power supply. But at any rate, I'll put that link in the other video where to buy that power supply. And you can watch another video about the power supply. I got more in depth. But okay, here's that hill. I don't know if you remember in the other video, I think I did like a quick radio test on this hill. I'm going to do it again as I drive, just for the heck of it. See what happens. But yeah, we're going to try it here. Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4, on top of the hill.
Radio check, 1, 2, 3, 4, on top of the hill.
Jeez, I mean, that's sounding really good. And actually, I wasn't even on top of the hill yet. And just to show you, the last location I was at, I was kind of down, I don't know, down in a small valley, I guess is the right word to use. Like I said, I'm in Wisconsin, and we got well, actually, we call them bluffs, but same thing, I guess. Hills, bluffs, whatever you want to call them. So our roads are up and down, up and down, up and down, as you can tell. So, yeah, I mean, just to kind of explain that. Other than that, yeah, so if you're thinking about getting this amplifier and using it as a repeater, it's very doable. Now, I'm using a computer, which is okay, nothing wrong with that. They do, like I said before, they do sell a little small box that you can use instead of a big computer. And that box, I believe, takes like 2 AA batteries, I think, if I remember right. There's a few companies that make that repeater box. They call it a simplex repeater. You hook it to your handheld or whatever radio you're going to use that's going to hook to the amplifier, but you hook it up to that, and it's a small box. It digitally records. It has actually the one I saw can even do voicemail. You can leave voicemail with certain extensions. You can use your keypad on your radio to access your voicemail. It's kind of cool. About $100 or a little bit more because you got to buy the cable that you plug into it that plugs into your radio. So you could go with that and not even have it. You just have to use a laptop. But I didn't want to buy that for this particular test, so I'm using the laptop. But at any rate, I'm going to drive around a little bit here and just play around. And if I find something, I'm going to go further out the other way and see what happens. I'm going to go all the way across town, and I'm going to see if I can hit it. So we'll be right back. Okay, YouTube, I went across town. I don't know. I'd have to look this on Google Maps, and I can't do that now to see how far. I may look when I get back and then edit this video or add it to this video. But just for the record, it is cloudy out today, a little bit of light rain. I'm not facing, the camera is not facing the direction of the repeater in this particular case. It's actually behind me. Let's see if I can hit the repeater. Radio check. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. Okay, I'm hitting the repeater. That's unbelievable. Now, if you didn't notice, I'm using a handheld in the car. I'm not even going out of the car. I'm sitting in the car. I'm going to show you in the camera. I'm using one of these Retevis RT85 model. It's on high power. The 5 watts. Same with the back at the repeater site. That radio's feeding approximately 5 watts into the amplifier. And I think, what I say, was it like 18 to 20 watts output? I think it was. I'd have to check in the beginning of the video. But at any rate, I'm going to have to see how far I am. I'm going to have to jump on Google Maps and check this. I'm making a note of the street name where I'm at, so I'll be able to find this. But this is really good. I mean, it may not be, it's not going to be like 20 miles away or nothing like that, but this is really good. If you could see the terrain I am up against, to even remotely do this with a handheld in a car I got metal roof. I mean, I'm just sitting in the driver's seat. It's a miracle that I'm even hitting it. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. That time I did not hit it. So it's on the edge. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. I suppose it depends on where
Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so it depends on how I sit in the car. Yeah, I'm gonna jot this street junction I'm at here, and I'm gonna look it up, and then just to see what it says. It's really jotted. Okay. This is way better than I thought this was gonna be, to be honest with you. This is almost working better than the actual repeater itself. I mean, it's working really good. So the sensitivity in those Retevis RT85 models are pretty good. Like I said, I have the same squelch setting as I did with the other repeater. I didn't change no squelch settings. All I did was unhooked the repeater and hooked up this amplifier / repeater with the laptop. That's all I did. And then that's the only thing different. Same antenna location, same height, didn't change nothing. Same 50 feet of coax, like it was in the in my repeater setup video. Everything's the same, but I'm using the amplifier as a repeater. That's the only difference. Wow, I mean, it's working really good now. And I think the day I did it with the other repeater, I think it was a cloudy day too, but today's a cloudy day, a little bit of light rain. Maybe that, may help. Some of you CBers back in the day, you could, when the weather was cloudy, or sometimes you got a little better distance, or rain and whatnot because of the atmosphere. Maybe that may be the case. I don't know. I'd have to do it on a sunny day to see if that makes a difference, which I may do a video on that. But at any rate, I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to add that distance, and then we're going to call this video good, and we're going to upload it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and have a good day. Okay, YouTube, I kind of signed off when I was at the last location there, and I was going to check on that. And I did. The last location is 2.94 miles away from the repeater. Yeah, that's not, I know we did a location that was 2.91 according to Google Maps. So it's a little bit further than that, but the totally opposite direction. One was one side of the town, the other one was on the other side of town, to try to give you a little idea. And which is really good. Like I said, it's, my setup. I did a video on it. That's how we're doing this. And with the hills and bluffs and trees, and it's a miracle I'm even going 3 miles away on a handheld in the car. That's really good. I did mention that, today is kind of a cloudy day. It's raining a little bit, as you can see, a little bit of sprinkles. Maybe that, may have an effect. I know it did with the CB radio back in the day a little bit. But anyway, I just want to add that in there so you don't sit there and wonder. But there you go. You can quite well use the Retevis RT91 amplifier along with a radio and either a computer or the box I was telling you about as a repeater. Works fairly well. I mean, of course, it, depending on what radio you have hooked up to the amplifier, but for what I have, which you saw in the beginning of the video, it's just a Retevis RT85 model, nothing fancy, on high power. And we were doing, I think it was like 18 watts, I think the meter said. I can't remember now, but I think it fluctuated between 18 and 20. But at any rate, so there you have it. So, if you need to do something that quick, I think that amplifier is $100, I think. I'd have to double check. But at any rate, and the wattage coming out of the amplifier depends on how much goes in. You can look up the user's manual and they'll tell you if you have 2 watts going in, you'll have 15 watts coming out or something like that. I don't remember exactly the chart, but you can look online and look it up. But it works really well. At any rate, thank you. Please subscribe and have a good day.